Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, the place to go if you're looking to set up a good looking website quickly and easily.
I'm sure you've seen Dunner's video on floating objects. His method is really good. It does work well. I've used it multiple times. I've told him how good it is. The way he does it is he holds up, let's say the lens here, takes a shot like that, and then carefully holds it with the other hand without moving the lens, takes another shot, and then he can merge the two together in Photoshop just by removing the hands, because he does have a shot of each end of the lens with the lens in the same spot. It's great, it works well. However, I think I've figured out a slightly better version of that, and it's using this little setup right here. This is a cheese plate with, I don't know exactly what this is called, but it has a 1/4" thread on there, screw, and then you can loosen it and it has complete 360 flexibility, and then when you tighten it back up, it stays exactly where you want it to, and I'm sure you can figure out where we're going from here. If you wanted to mount something a little bit heavier lens setup, you could use a cage too. That's gonna give you a little bit more base, a little bit more stability, so that is a good option. Anything you can screw, that's what she said, will work. Now, I have used this little 6" cheese plate with a A7 III with no lens attached and the A6400, and it does work just fine. But the bigger the base, the more you're gonna be able to balance on it. The actual method for taking the shots is pretty straightforward and easy. You're gonna be taking 2 shots, one with your static background with no object, and then one with the object in. Now, you wanna make sure that you are pre-focusing on a mark here. So what I'd suggest is have a little mark on your table, or whatever you're putting your object on, even a little bit of tape, something you can quickly and easily remove in Photoshop if you need to. So put your object there, pre-focus on this manually. You need to make sure that you're in manual focus. Autofocus, it might work, but there's a lot of risk for it not turning out right. So manually focus, and then once you've got it manually focused on, let's say the Insta360, which is what I'm using today, you wanna make sure that the settings are the same for both cameras, so it can't be in auto. Your white balance, your ISO, your aperture, and your shutter speed all need to be dialed in manually so that they won't change automatically. Once that's set up, take a shot of your glorious backdrop with nothing in it. Then put the object back into the shot there. Of course, you can move this around if you want to, but if you do move it around, remember, you're gonna have to take the first shot again and then manually focus. Get your shot set up, background first with the object in it, then you're just gonna go into the edit and put them together. I'll show you how to do that.
But before I show you that, let's just talk about Squarespace. Now, I actually do use Squarespace for my own personal website, which I do pay, and there's a reason for that. It's so easy to set up. I'm not just saying that. I've used many other platforms before and spent days trying to understand them, and my whole website on Squarespace was done in less than 2 hours. Not even kidding. That includes getting my own domain name through them too. There's a ton of good looking templates ready to go for you. All you need to do is provide the text and the pictures. It's literally that easy. Now, you always hear people talking about Squarespace's 24/7 customer service, and I can attest to this. A couple of months back, I was looking at moving my presets store to Squarespace to have it all in one spot, and I put it out on Twitter just looking for people's experiences to do so. Didn't even tag Squarespace, didn't even mention them, and look who turned up to help. I was quite impressed by that. So if you're thinking about setting up a website or an online store, head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready, 10% off your first order using the information on the screen and down below. Now let's get back to the video and edit the floating image.
Okay, so this is actually gonna be a lot quicker to do than you think it would be. I'm in Lightroom because I just prefer to make a couple of changes in Lightroom before I put them into Photoshop. Now, it's important to know that if you do make changes, like for me, I've added some noise reduction here and increased the exposure a little bit. If you make changes to the image that has the object in it, you need to make sure that you make the same changes to the image that doesn't have the object on it. So an easy way to do that is click on Settings, Copy Settings, make sure everything's selected, copy it, go to the other image, click on Settings, Paste Settings, and then the settings will be the same between the two. So there's no change in color or color temperature or anything like that. Once you've done that, select both images, click on Command and then the other one, or Command and A. Right click on those, click on Edit In, open as layers in Photoshop. And then that will put them both into Photoshop as layers that you can then work with. And now you want the image that has the object in it to be above the image that doesn't have the object in it, so the background image, like it's done just here. If it didn't do that, you can just drag them around to get it how you want it. Once that is done, basically we're just gonna be painting out or deleting the part of the image here that we don't want. So with the cheese plate there and the magic arm, which I now know that's what it's called. There's many different ways to do this, and people are gonna be horrified at the method that I'm using, but I'm not a Photoshop expert by any means. I don't claim to be a wizard at it.
this is just a quick and easy method. Let's just make sure we get rid of that feather because we don't need that on there. So rectangular marquee box, just make a big old box and delete. And you can already see there it's done a substantial amount to remove it. Then I'm just going to use the eraser. There are methods with masking that you can do, but I'm not going to be showing you that today. I just want a quick and easy method. Literally just delete it. And just so you're aware here, I have the hardness set to 68%, flow and smoothing is 100%. We're literally just deleting this bit here, the stuff we don't need. Now, it doesn't need to be 100% perfect, in all honesty. Though people will say, oh, there's way better ways to do this. I get it, but for simplicity and just a quick, easy method, this does work just fine. Just get rid of everything there, even the little bits of shadow underneath. And that, to be honest, looks done. And that could be your final image if you wanted it to be. Now, one advantage with Dunner's tutorial is he has shadows in the image already, just the way he took them. So there is no shadow in this. So if you didn't want a shadow, you're finished. But if you did want a shadow, let me quickly show you how to do that. Now, if you click on the magnetic lasso tool here, this doesn't need to be perfect. Just a very, very rough outline of the box, of the Insta360 or the camera or lens, whatever you're using. Magnetic lasso tool does a pretty good job of getting it all anyway. Once it's selected there, Command and J, that will copy it as a new layer. Once you have done that, you need to kind of put it in the position of where the shadow would be based off of the light. If you click on Command and T, you'll see it now allows you to transform that object. Now what we're going to be doing is holding Command, clicking on the middle at the top there and dragging it down. And you can see it completely skews it, changes your perspective. I'm just going to be getting it kind of in a position where the light would be, like there maybe a little bit further off to the side. Don't worry too much about this, you can always adjust it later. Let's just say it's there for now. Hit enter. Then you want to click on the little box over here. This is your lock transparent pixels. Click on that and then go to your gradient tool. You want to make sure you're going from black to white, and then mode is normal, opacity 100%. Click from the bottom there and go to the top. You need to make sure that the bottom of the shadow is black and the top is white. Just like that. Actually, let's do that again, just from within there. There we go. Okay. Once that's done, untick your transparent pixels and change the opacity mode to multiply. You can already see we're starting to get a bit of a shadow there, but now the edges are a little bit too harsh. So what you're going to do is just blur that. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, Gaussian blur, whatever you want to call it. And look, there you go. You can go more and it will really not do anything. The shadow will be just disgusting. You can go less and it's not going to have very softened edges. Somewhere in the middle, 44.4 works good there. Click on OK. And now you can literally make that shadow bigger, smaller, do whatever you want to do with it. And that's how to add a shadow really quickly and really easily in Photoshop. So now you can see you've got the original background, the object floating, and then its shadow. So there we go. That is how to float an image with this little setup using Lightroom, Photoshop. It's a quick and easy method. Slightly different to Dunner's. You might prefer his method, you might prefer my method. I think this is a little bit quicker, and with the control you get when you're just moving this around and not having to hold it, worry about it being in the right framing and everything like that. I just find this a little bit easier. So there we go. Appreciate you watching today. If you want to click the buttons down below, you know what to do. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later.